morning students. In the last class we have started the chapter 5 Python variables and operators. Okay, what are the portions we have covered in this chapter? Can you remember? One important question I have told. What is the question? Tokens. Last class we studied about tokens. How many types are there in tokens? There are 5 types. Can you say what are the 5 types? First one, identifiers. Second, keywords. Third, operators. Next, delimiters. The next one, letters. These are the 5 types of tokens. Yesterday we studied about this question briefly. You note down this question and study thoroughly. Okay, this is a 5-mark question. Next, in tokens, the operators, there are different types of operators. What are the operators we studied? Arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operator, conditional operator. Okay, these are the operators in tokens. Okay, now next we can go to the topic Python data types. Python data types. See, this Python data types, all the data values in Python are called objects. All the data values in Python are called what? Objects. Okay, so each object has each value on its own type. So each object has each value. So the data types are built-in data type or fundamental data type. The data type is built-in data type. This built-in data type is also known as fundamental data type. Fundamental data type is what are the data types we are using? Is number, string, boolean, tuples, list, dictionaries. These are the data types we are studying in the Python fundamental. Okay, what are they? Number, string, boolean, tuples, list, dictionaries. Already we have studied about tuples and list. Okay, now number also we know. Number means only we are using numeric values. String means set of sequence of characters. Boolean means true or false or yes or no. Then tuples, the values are given inside the parenthesis. List means the values given inside the square bracket. Okay, then dictionaries also. Dictionaries we can see later. Okay, now these are the fundamental data types. Okay, here number data type means what are the numbers we can, which type of numbers we can use in this number data type. Can you say which type of number means? Ordinary we know, all of us know decimal numbers. Decimal numbers means without decimal point. So, example 35. This is a decimal number. Then in this numbers, what again one number, that is floating point number. That is number with decimal point. So 23.6. This is a floating point number. The next one number, that is octal and hexadecimal. Octal and hexadecimal. To identify octal number, the variable O will be given. Okay. Now to identify the hexadecimal, OX is given. So this is decimal number without decimal point. This is with the decimal point, that is the floating point number. O means octal number. OX means hexadecimal. Hexadecimal number. Then next we can see another one number, that is 53L. 53L means long decimal number. Long decimal number. This is long decimal number. Okay, so decimal number, floating point number, octal number, hexadecimal number, long decimal number. These are the numbers. Then string means we know already. String means set of characters enclosed within single quote or double quote. Okay, set of numbers within first one is decimal part. Decimal part. The next one, decimal digit part. Decimal digit part. Then after that, decimal point. The next one, exponent part. So three parts are in exponent data. What are the three parts? Decimal digit part, decimal point, then exponent part. Can you say the example for this? 25.E04. 25.E04. See, 25 is the decimal digit part. Then arrow, this decimal point. Decimal point is the decimal point. That's one. Then exponent part. This is exponent part. Okay. So this is same as 25. 25 into 10 power 4. Okay, this is same as 25 into 10 power 4. So the exponent data consists of three parts: decimal digit part, decimal part, and exponent part. The next we studied about Boolean. Boolean data type means only one answer, whether it is true, otherwise it is false. True or false. That is the Boolean. So two values, true or false. One time the variable must be true, another time the variable will be false. Okay. The next we can study the string data type. String data type, that is the set of characters enclosed within single quote, double quotes. Single quote and double quotes. I am giving some example for how to write. Single quote means we can write as the escape sequence characters \T. This is one example for string. This single character is enclosed within single quote. The next one, another one example, within double quotes I am writing computer science. So this is set of characters. So sequence of characters. This sequence of characters are enclosed within double quotes. Okay, this is the double quote. Then triple quote means multi-line. 2 or 3 lines we have to surround together, means we have to use triple quotes. See, imagine these 3 are the 3 lines. So you have to form the, you can write in triple quotes. So this is multi-line string. So single quote, double quote and triple quote. Okay. These are the built-in data type and fundamental data types in Python. Okay. Now we have finished this lesson. That means 5th lesson I have completed. Okay. Here some questions are on this 5th lesson. Some important questions. Different modes that can be used in Python. What are the different modes used in Python? 2 modes. The starting is studied in this lesson. What are the 2 modes? Interactive mode and script mode. Interactive mode and script mode. Then we have to study the important question, tokens. Tokens will be asked in 2 mark also, then in 5 mark. 2 mark also in 5 mark also. Important question. Okay. Then we study about operators. Explain tokens, explain operators. Operators means arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, conditional operators. These are the operators used in Python. This is one question. Another one question, explain ternary operator. Ternary operator. Ternary operator means conditional operator. Conditional operator is also known as ternary operator. This is also one important question. Then input and print function. Input and print function. Okay. Now next one more question is there. Procedure for script mode programming. Procedure for script mode programming. These are some important questions. You know, don't answer. Explain tokens. So inside the tokens, many number of inside questions is also there. If one question you are 5 mark per study means you can attend more 5 mark, 2 mark and 3 mark in the same question. Like that, operators also. Operators, these all will we can study. These all the 3 topics we can study in tokens. Okay, so if you study token means you can study more 5 mark, 2 mark and 3 mark. Next input and function. Next one important 5 mark question. This is also a 5 mark question. Procedure for script mode program. Can you understand? See, next we can start the next lesson, that is control structures. Control structures. See, control structures already you studied in C++. Isn't it? What is control structure? What are the controls? How many control structures are there? Many. Example, if else, switch, then for loops you may study. These are all topics we are going to study in this lesson. Okay. Now first we are going to study about control structures. See, programs may contain set of statements. See, when you see the go through the program, there will be each and every line will have some set of statements. Okay. These statements are executable statements. These statements are executable. So that way we are using or we are writing a program and executing that particular program. Okay. Now these statements are executed sequentially. These statements are executed sequentially. Sequentially means already I told. In the last lesson I told. Sequentially means it will execute the statements one after another. After completing one statement, next statement will be executed. So sequentially. Okay. Then in some cases we need to skip a segment or set of statement and executing another statement. Okay. If, when we are doing any work, if that work is not possible means we will skip that work and we will pass on to the next. Okay. Like that here also there is a need to skip some segments and pass on to the next segment. That is known as alternative or branching. Alternative statement. This alternative statement is also known as branching. And understand alternative and branching. Okay. Why we are using alternative and branching? Because there is a need to skip some statements and we have to follow the next statement. We have to execute the next statement. So that we are using alternative and branching. Then next, if we want to, otherwise if there is a need to execute a set of statements multiple times, that is known as iteration or looping. Iteration or looping. Can you understand? So if there is a need to skip set of statements, we are using some statement that is known as iteration and looping. So two sets of control structures, alternative or branching. Next one, iteration and looping. These two we are going to briefly study in this lesson. Okay. First we can see what is control structure. What is a control structure? In this two, what we can understand here, alternative and branching means we can skip set of statements or a segment and we can pass on to the next. Here means multiple segments we have to skip and we have to pass on to the next, execute next. So in both the cases, both structures we are using the skipping only. Okay. This is known as the control structure. That means a program statement that causes a jump from one part of the program to the another part of a program is known as control structures. Okay. A program statement that causes a jump from one part of the program to the another part of the program is known as control structures. This is also known as control statement. Control structure is also known as control statement. Can you understand this much? So what is control statement? What is control structure? A program statement that causes a jump from one part of the program to another part of the program. Is known as control structure. So what is control structure? A program statement that causes a jump from one part of a program to another part of a program is known as control structure, otherwise control statement. Okay. Next we can study the types of control structures. Types of control structures. See, there are three types of control structures. The first one is sequential. The next one already we studied, alteration or branching. That is alternative or branching. Then what is the next one? Iterative and looping. Iterative or looping. So what are the three types of control structures? Sequential, alternative or branching, iterative or looping. These are the three types of control structures. Okay. First we can study about sequential statement. See, sequential means already we saw all the statements in a program are executed one after the another. So that is sequential. Okay. See, for the sequence of statements which are executed one after the another is known as sequential statement. For this one example, for sequential statement I am giving one example. See, two set of statements is given. Okay. That is to print program to print your name and address. Okay, your name and address. I am writing one example. Print Raju. Next, print number 5 North Street, Chennai. So these are the two statements. Okay. Here first name is given, next one address. Name of a person and the name address of the particular person. Okay. So sequential means first this first statement will be executed, then this second statement will be executed. So what will be the output now? Now it will print the value of print the name. So Raju. So after executing this, what will be printed? Address. So number 5 This is the address. And understand, this is about sequential statement. Okay. So all the program statements will be executed one after the another. And understand. Next we can pass on to alternative or branching. See, in alternative branching, for example, in our life, we need to take some decisions, isn't it? And we will take one alternative. All the decisions we will not take together. We will think, here we have to go, here, there we have to, like that, and all we will think. But today, we will take only one decision. Okay? Like that, this type of decision also made. So make to learn the two alternative or branch. Okay. So many branches will be there. Among that all branches, only one will be executed. So in this branching, there are three types. Under alternative and branching, there are three types. That is, you are studying C++ also. Simple if statement. Simple if statement. Then second one, if-else statement. Second one, if-else statement. Then third one, if-elif. If-elif statement. So, what are the three statements in alternative or branching? Simple if statement, if-else statement, if-elif statement. That means if-else, if-else statement. If-elif means if-else, if-else. Okay. Statement. Now first we can study about simple statement. Okay, first we can study simple if statement. See, this is a simple decision making statement. The statement can be in the form of relational or logical expressions. All the statements in this alternative or branching in the form of relational or logical expression. So the syntax for if statement. You can see the syntax for if statement. That is, if condition. Next, here one colon. Then statement block. Statement block. See, this is simple. Only if there is no else. So if condition, then statement block. Then whatever we are giving in this condition, if it is true, it will execute, it will goes to the next. Okay. If here this condition is true, it will display the statement block. That's it. This is about the simple if statement. So here one example I am giving for simple. So what is the syntax? For syntax, all the syntax is important. If condition, statement block. This is for simple if statement. If condition, here we have to put colon, then statement block. Okay. Now we can see one example program. Program to check the particular person is eligible to vote or not. Okay. Program to check the person is eligible to vote. Okay. So we can write the program for this statement in Python. So see, first we have to enter the age. If I am giving age 18, this person is eligible to vote. Okay, like that. Simple if. So I am giving one example, n equal to, how to declare variable, n equal to, next whether it is integer means integer, input function, next you have to give enter the age. enter the age. In C++, at last we will put a semicolon, but in Python language no need of semicolon. Okay. Now the value of n is given, declared. Next we have to give the if statement. So if n, here we are where we are enter the age in the variable n. So if n greater than or equal to 18, last what will come? 1 colon. Syntax there is 1 colon. Terminate by colon. Okay. So if n greater than or equal to, we have to print. What we have to print? The person is eligible to vote. So print. What is the function? To display a message. Print. So print. You are eligible to vote. This is an example for symbol if. Symbol. Okay. For if else means another one part will come. One else condition will also come. Okay. So see here now the condition. If I am giving 25, the age. If I am giving the age to 25, your answer is you are eligible to vote. This is a simple if statement. Okay. Next we can see if else statement. Next if else statement. See in if else statement two possibilities are there. Among them one will be executed. If the condition is true, first statement will be executed. If the condition is false, next statement will be executed. So the syntax for if else statement is if condition statement block 1 else, here also colon will come. Then statement block 2. See, this is the syntax for if else statement. If else statement. So what is the syntax? If condition statement block 1 else statement block 2. Here the condition is true means first statement block 1 will be executed. If the condition is false means statement block 2 will be executed. Okay, so this is also very simple. So for this we can draw one flow chart. See, first we have to enter, entry. Flow chart symbols you know, no? Then we have to go to the condition. So for condition, what is the symbol? Diamond symbol. Here we will give the condition. Here in condition, two ways are there. One is for true and another is for false. True, here false. Okay. True means one set of statement block, one will be executed. Statement 1 will be executed. False means statement 2. 2 will be executed. At last, this connected will connected and it will go to exit. Exit. Okay, this is a flow chart for if else statement. So what is the syntax? If condition statement block 1, else statement block 2. Once more I am drawing this flow chart. See here entry. First we have to enter. The next decision, that is condition. So that diamond box for condition. Here two possibilities. One is for true, another is for false. Okay. True means statement block 1 will be executed. False means statement block 2 will be executed. Then at last it is connected, we are connected and it comes to n. Here exit. See if the condition is true, if this condition given here is true means it will consider true condition, the statement block 1 will be executed. If the condition false means it goes to the statement block 2. Okay. Now we can see one example for if-else statement. Okay. The example program. Program to check whether the given number is odd or even. Okay. Program to check given number is odd or even. For comment, we have to give comment means what symbol we have to give? Double slash. This is the comment. Okay, example. Now we can declare variables. See here we have to input a variable. Okay. So first number we can input a equal to. If this number is integer number means we can give int integer. Next we have to input the variable so that what function we are using? Input. Then we have to display a message or input enter the value of a, otherwise enter the value. So enter a value or enter any number. Enter any number. Next we are going to check whether this number is odd or even. For that we are using if-else statement. If-else statement. So if, what is the syntax for if-else? If condition first. So if we are going to give condition. This here we are given what? A. Value of A. So this value must be divided by 2. And we have to find the modulus of this A. So we have to divide this value by 2 and the remainder is the answer. So from the remainder, so we can find out the modulus of A. Through the modulus we can find whether it is odd or even. If the value comes 0, it is even number. If the remainder value comes 1, it is odd number. Okay. So if A modulus of 2 equal to 0, then what will come here? Colon. Okay. Next, if it is 0 means statement block 1 will be executed. So we have to give statement block 1 and in the else part we have to give statement block 2. Okay. So here we are going to give the statement. So we have to print the message. What? A is that the given number is odd or the given number is even. So here this true block. For statement block 1 we have to give the given number is even. So we can use print A is an even number. The set of characters as our wish we can give in our word. Okay. Next what will come? Else colon same as this. Print A is an odd number. A is an odd number. This much about this program. So what is this program for? Program to check the given number is odd or even. Okay. Even number means here 0 want to come, odd means 1 want to come. So first we are giving one variable A equal to, we are declaring the variable and we are input to the variable, that is integer, input, enter a number. Okay. Now if condition we are doing if else. So if A modulus of 2 equal to 0, print A is an even number. Then otherwise else A is an odd number. So this condition is true means this first statement will be executed. This condition is false means second statement will be executed. Statement block 2 will be executed. Okay. From this can you write the output? How we can, the output will be displayed? Can you say first what? First the question will come. Enter any number. See output for this. Enter any number. See here one equal to is also there. Here one equal to is also there. So R2 is equal to, if we are giving 10, I am giving the value 10. Now what will happen? This line will be executed. If A modulus of 2 equal to 10, so A means 10 modulus of 2 equal to 0. So 10 divided by 2. So here 5 2s are 10. So balance remainder 0. So this is what? True. This condition is true. So which statement block will be executed? The first statement block, that is A is an even number. Okay. Otherwise, if I am giving 9 here, so 9 modulus of 2. So it will divide the value. You can divide the value by 9. 9 divided by 2. So how many? 4. 4 2s are 8. What's the balance? 1. So this is the remainder, modulus of A. So which statement will be executed? Second statement. Statement block 2. A is an odd number. This will be executed. This is the output for. So if 9 means second step. So the answer is A is an odd number. Okay. Again we can run this program. So we can reuse and again we can execute this program. Again when you are executing, again it will ask the question, enter any number. So if you are giving 10 here, the remainder will be 0. So what will be displayed? A is an even number. Okay. This is about if-else statement. Next we can see another one, alternate method for this if-else statement. See the alternate method, already we know the syntax for if-else statement is if condition, statement block 1, else statement block 2. Now another one, alternate method. Method for if-else. Okay, now I am writing the syntax. Variable equal to variable 1, next if condition, else variable 2. Same as conditional operator. Already we have studied conditional operator now. But that also, yesterday we saw in the last class we saw the syntax. What's the syntax? Variable equal to on true, condition, next on false. Here same, see here for alternate method for if statement is variable equal to variable 1 if condition, else variable 2. So here one variable will be given, this here condition will be given, here variable 2 will be given. If the condition is true, the variable 1 will be executed. If the condition is false, the else part, that is variable 2 is executed. Can you understand? So for this also we can write one simple example. Same order even question we can write for this also. See A equal to integer input, enter a number. Next we are using the alternative if-else statement for this method. Okay, alternative method for this if-else. So variable equal to means another one variable. That is another one variable. That is x equal to, I am taking as x. So x equal to, first we are giving the first statement block 1. So even. Next we are giving if condition. If a modulus of 2 equal to 0. Next we are giving else. So else. Next what? Or. So next we can print the value of x. So print a is x. See, what is the syntax for this alternative method? Variable equal to variable 1 if condition else variable 2. Now see one example program, only 3 lines. In C++, if you are writing this program, more than 6 or 7 lines will be there. But in Python program, within 3 lines you can write. A equal to integer. A variable is declared and enter input, enter a number. Next variable, another one variable equal to true condition, true statement block 1, condition else statement block 2. Here see what is given here in statement block 1, even number. Whether the condition is true means the statement block 1 even will be displayed. If the condition is false means statement block odd will be displayed. Okay. Now how to print A? A means this number. A is. Why I am giving in double quotes to print this is. Yes, is. So is x. X means this value. So the output will be displayed in this x variable. So it will print the value of x. Now from this we can write the output. How the output? Enter a number. Enter a number. So enter a number. Like this the message will be displayed. We have to give the number. So 10 I am giving. Next one. X equal to even. Next condition will be checked. So if 10 divided by 2 equal to 0. So the remainder will be 0. So which condition will be checked? Executed even. So the answer is even. Okay. Then again one more time if you are executing, again it will display the message enter a number equal to 998. Okay. Now 9 divided by 2 equal to, well, it will check 0 or not. When we are dividing 9 by 2, what is the answer? Remainder will be 1. So the answer statement block 2. So the answer is on. This is the 2 outputs for this program. Okay. What is this program to check whether the given number is odd or not? 2 ways we can write. This is an alternate method for simple else, if else. What is the syntax? If condition, next statement block 1, next else statement block 2. This is one syntax, first syntax. This is the alternative method. Okay, these are about alternative and branch. Can you understand? The next one more is there. So if and if else we studied now. Next we can study nested if. Nested if else. Okay. Nested if, elif, else statement. See, in if statement only one condition, only one statement block is there. If else statement there are two statement blocks are there. If one first that condition is true means first statement will be executed. The condition is false means second statement. But here again nested if. Already in C++ we have studied how nested statements means a statement within another statement is known as nested if statement. Okay. Now here also instead of that nested if we are using if elif. If elif. There in C++ we have studied if condition. If condition, then statement block 1, then we will use else. If statement block 2, again else statement else. If statement block 3, the last else statement block 4. This we are studied in C++. Same that only, but here we are using elif. E-L-I-F. Instead of else if we are using E-L-I-F. Here also E-L-I-F. Okay. So in the next class we can study briefly about this nested if